Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. This news we're about to render has generated a lot of opinions. A lot of persons have started looking at the whole Nigerian scenario in a different light. And of course, because of the diverse opinions, FFK Femi Fani Kayode have also included himself into the matter. In fact, he actually spoke extensively. In the moment you're going to read all the news, please listen to it with an open mind so you can have a greater picture of what some, not all now, some of the elites of the north, how they look at Nigeria in holistically, and what some other persons are having a different ideology of Nigeria. I just hope that Nigeria will weather this storm eventually. But before we go to the news proper to find out what it is, that is, bro, we would like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, this is actually coming from Gaduje. I'll read this, then of course we'll look through what FFK got to say and what Nigerians are saying generally. Well, according to the news, it is a glaring fact. According to FFK, according to Gaduje now, it is a glaring fact that the Northerners occupy over 80% of Nigeria. And that 80% is Nigerian population. That is primarily why other minority tribes, you can imagine, Igbo and Yoruba is a minority tribe, while the Northerners are a majority, having 80%, according to Gaduje. He said why the minority tribes like Igbo and Yoruba should respect them for that. The insecurity everybody's talking about is everywhere. Before, Nigerians, particularly Igbos and Yorubas, used to think that insecurity exists only in the north. But today, insecurity is in those tribes. Today is on the increase. Igbos and Yorubas are busy agitating for freedom, thereby creating their own insecurity with the establishment of IPOB and Oduduwa Republic, which are now terrorizing the entire nation. You can imagine. My advice to every Nigerian is to support President Muhammadu Buhari in moving this country forward. He has achieved so much for the country and must be commended. Governor Abdullahi Gaduje. Now, hear what FFK Femi Fani Kayode got to say. I don't want to go through all the nitty-gritty he said. In fact, he spoke quite a lot. But let's go straight to what he said. He said, Northerners are the master race who own Nigeria and who are born to rule. Yet the Southerners, he and the tiny group of so much talks. Let's go straight to what he said. A lot of very wonderful things. Let's go straight to the main thing he said. He says Northerners own Nigeria and that they constitute 80% of the Nigerian people. Permit me to ask, which North? FFK is asking, which North is he talking about? Is it the Northwest, the Northeast, or the Middle Belt? Because there are three distinct and separate entities which are all manned and filled with people from different tribes and religious faith. The old North that Gaduje craves for and appears to be trying to invoke and resurrect is long gone, dead and buried. For the last few weeks and months, I have been at the forefront of those advocating for the building of bridges and understanding between the regions, zones, tribes, religious faith and political parties in Nigeria. However, statements like Gaduje's makes this appear to be an exercise in futility, that we want to keep the peace, build bridges, enhance national unity, re-establish national cohesion, and ensure that our country does not end up fighting a second civil war or engage in a second round of fratricidal butchery does not mean that we are weak, cowardly, or scared, perturbed, or living in trepidation of the North. Neither does it mean that we have lost our capacity. Well, he now went further. He said, this godless, unacceptable philosophy and irrelevant logic of born to rule. It just means we are decent, civilized, restrained, matured, responsible leaders and people who hate bloodshed, who value peace, who seek to avoid conflict, who insist on ensuring that good sense prevails, and who recognize the fact that Chaos is the greatest evil that one can possibly imagine, and that we must avoid it at all costs. Despite our pacifist disposition, it must also be clearly understood that there is a limit to our sense of restraint, patience, and understanding. That limit is a clear understanding and acknowledgement of the fact that peace cannot come at the expense of Southern and Middle Belt liberty, dignity, self-respect, freedom, and pride. Simply put, we will not sacrifice our civil liberties, human rights, and right to exist as free-born citizens on the altar of one Nigeria. Honestly, he spoke plenty here. Honestly, in this particular phrase, he summarized everything. But let's continue. It is either that Nigeria regards us, the Yorubas, Igbos, and every other ethnic group in Nigeria as equals before God and the law, and as freeborn and independent citizens, or to we don't want the whole issue and her we don't want the whole issue of one Nigeria and her much touted, vainglorious, and illusionary unity, which cannot possibly be sustained into the distant future without making the necessary changes and sacrifices and concessions. The slightest suggestion or suspicion that Southerners and Middle Belters as slaves are a minority or a second-class citizens in this country will deafen the ears and silence the tongues of even the moderate in our ranks, and ultimately result in a conflict in which millions of people on both sides of the region will divide. This is the sad and bitter truth, and I see it coming so clearly unless we work hard to avoid it. This is why we need to be careful what we say and do these days, because tempers are running high, and the lid is about to blow off. In the South particularly, people are just fed up and are no longer prepared to be restrained or reasonable. They believe that they are under siege and they are facing an existential threat from hoods of barbarous people. Those of us that have been appealing to them to be restrained and not to perceive every House of Fulani person as an enemy are having a very hard time indeed, and are more often than not viewed with suspicion and described as collaborators. Whilst we are not deterred or concerned about such erroneous and absurd characterization, which are clearly not rooted in truth, any further provocation may have the effect of setting aside reason and rationality, and ultimately result in the eruption of massive condones of fire. Governor Gaduje has stoked the fire, increased the temperature, shaken the fragile table, and added to the palpable tension that already exists in the nation by articulating his self-serving and ideology. And his words have proved to be not only irresponsible but utterly reprehensible. Worse still, this is the second one by a prominent northern leader on Southerners in the last 1 week, and this has not gone unnoticed in many quarters. Is it all being orchestrated in order to push the South to the brink or bully us into submission? I really do wonder, but if this is the idea, it will not work. All right, so many things he said actually, and all we can continue on, and let's meet in the comment section. It's quite a huge one. What's your take on what Governor Gaduje said and what FFK replied? And the internet is really